Hey guys, let's take a look at some amazing knockouts of true legends in MMA. These are fighters who during their fighting career had already gotten the legend moniker. You have to be truly amazing to get recognized while still fighting and not even towards the end of your career. Let's get into it, but first give this video a like and subscribe as it really helps me out. Let's start with a style bender, Israel Adesanya, who many of you might disagree that he's a legend. But what he has accomplished is truly amazing. For 9 straight years and 20 MMA fights, he was undefeated. His 12 initial fights were all knockout victories. Probably the most impressive one was when he beat Robert Whittaker by KO. Adesanya, although boring at times, has been dominant in the middleweight division, and he didn't even lose until he moved in weight and lost in a close fight to Jan Blachowicz. Unfortunately, his first loss in his division came to the same man who chased him out of kickboxing in Alex Pereira. Adesanya almost had this fight in the bag. He had 3 rounds on all 3 scorecards, and he even badly hurt Pereira at the end of the round. A little more time and he would have taken him out. The legend of Adesanya might have come to an end, because I don't actually think he's capable of beating Pereira after losing to him 3 times. Tony Ferguson is maybe the weirdest legend that has ever competed in MMA. He does things that just seem strange to almost everybody, but nobody can deny the fact that he's a true legend and probably one of the most beloved fighters ever. He almost got his chance against Khabib during his prime, but after losing to Justin Gaethje, it has just been an impressive downfall.
See heavy breathing. That's it.
He did lose here by a TKO, and it was a pretty devastating loss as he suffered some major punishment. But the fight where he got absolutely put to sleep surprised everybody because he has one of the best chins you will ever see in a sport.
Honestly,
Ferguson had a great first round against Michael Chandler, giving hope to all his fans that maybe he wasn't done just yet. But that front kick came and brought everyone back to earth, where the legend that is Tony El Cucuy Ferguson might just have to retire after having 5 straight losses. One of the smoothest fighters in MMA has been Anderson Spider Silva, and with being as smooth as he was extremely cocky and would play around with his prey all the time, like when he dismantled the great fighter Forrest Griffin.
Silva looking to get inside. He's lifting it in his striking. Look at the hands flow.
Yeah, I think.
That's just amazing.
Silva, regardless of the fact that he would taunt his opponents during most of the fight, since he was in some sort of matrix where he could see everything coming, so it was like he mastered fighting with his students. He would get bored and would just start playing around. That all ended when he faced Chris Weidman. Silva's taunts finally caught up to him, and although he was able to almost get away with that move of dropping his hands, it just grazed his chin and his whole world came crashing down. Since this knockout, he has only won 3 of 9 fights. This single moment brought his legendary career to an end. Dominick Cruz is one of the most awkward fighters in MMA. Not awkward in his personality, but his fighting style is just very different. It's not like anyone else's, and his unpredictability allowed him to get in the conversation for the GOAT in the bantamweight division. He got outclassed by Cody Garbrandt, and because of injuries, was out 4 years. He came back against Triple C.
Cejudo. From Cejudo. He hurt Dom.
Cruz was out for 4 years, but he is such a legend and such a monster that they immediately allowed him to fight for the title against the 2-time UFC champ. He and everybody quickly learned that you have to allow yourself to get back in rhythm to get into real fights, because sparring doesn't even come close to that level. He got knocked out, and although he complained that he could have kept going, he was pretty hurt. He then had 2 wins and then got knocked out again by Vera. Mighty Mouse Demetrious Johnson is legitimate close to being the overall GOAT in MMA, and with great reason. He fought for 15 years without ever being knocked out, and he faced the very best in Henry Cejudo, Dominick Cruz, and Kyoji Horiguchi. He even beat the great Rotang in a mixed MMA match. Johnson would without a doubt be considered the undisputed GOAT if only he would have been fighting in a higher weight division. Eventually, in the worst trades of all time, and probably the stupidest decision the UFC has ever made, they traded him to one championship for Ben Askren. Johnson, of course, within 3 fights was the champion again. The world was left shocked when last year Adriano Moraes was able to knock him out for the first time in his career.
Top position now for the champion. Throws a knee to the jaw. Dangerous hurt.
In a split-second mistake, he was caught with a knee that hurt him a ton. Moraes was able to get the finish, but of course, things wouldn't stay this way. You have to give the legend a chance to reclaim his title, and they did it again. This time, Mighty Mouse won in almost the same way.
Slightly smaller movements.
Oh, big right, DJ. Responded. Big knee.
The current GOAT at the heavyweight division in the UFC is still probably Stipe Miocic, who has been the only fighter to defend the belt a total of 3 consecutive times. He has become a legend for the mere fact that he was able to stop the trading of the belt for 2 years and was able to stifle the monster that is Francis Ngannou in their first fight. His aura of invincibility came down when he faced another legend in Daniel Cormier.
Clinches. Exactly what you gotta do. Oh, he hurt it.
Even though Miocic was able to avenge this loss by knockout and then winning a 5-round war, this is the fight that I think allowed Ngannou to regain the confidence in himself and know that he may be able to knock out the guy who kind of neutered him because he barely fought in his next fight when he faced off against Derek Lewis. This knockout showed that the legend does have a weakness, giving everyone else a fighting chance. Jose Aldo began fighting professionally in 2004, and for 10 years he dominated the featherweight division, only losing once, and it was by submission. This man was constantly in the conversation for the greatest of all time, especially in his division. He had never been knocked out, but then came the day when the Irish trash-talking king came into town and absolutely exposed him in 13 seconds.
Jose Aldo Jr. Caught and relaxed and smiling. Oh! Just slipped it!
This is one of the fastest knockouts of a legend that you will ever see. Aldo's confidence was at an all-time high. His chin was stellar. He had an 18-fight winning streak, and he was well liked and respected. But when a left hand is blessed by God, even the legends fall in its path of destruction. This single fight changed everything. It must have seriously hurt his confidence, because he got knocked out 3 more times in his career. It was twice to another legend in Max Holloway, but he faced great fighters before that and withstood all the hits.
Pouring it on. That'll do it. Max Holloway.
Fedor Emelianenko is without a doubt the GOAT in the heavyweight division, and it must be understood how good he was in his prime. He had 34 fights in the toughest division in all of combat sports, where one shot can take down even the best, and he was never knocked out. He lost via TKO, but only from doctor stoppages due to injury. Then he faced off against Dan Henderson, another crazy power hitter, where Fedor actually had him hurt first. Emelianenko was extremely close to ending his losing streak, but Henderson is also a bit of a legend himself, and he wasn't going to go down without a fight. And wow, did he manage to get Fedor back.
Beautiful escape by Hendo! Wow! Henderson scrambling! Wow!
From here on, Fedor only lost 2 more times in his storied career, but both of these losses were to TKOs. His incredible chin had finally been cracked, and now it was open season on a guy who was rarely even hurt, let alone knocked out. Almost everybody gets beat while fighting, so this is not that bad, but it still shocks the world when such a dominant fighter is taken down in such a brutal way. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you next time.